Welcome back, friends, to another weekly video. Now, I've made a lot of videos here on YouTube on accounting and corporate finance, but my most hated video was the video that I posted on Universal Basic Income, or UBI. So I uploaded that video almost exactly 1 year ago, and it's received so many negative comments. And so it's been a year, and I wanted to revisit the topic. And so this video is UBI Revisited. For those of you who watch my channel, you know I never really talk about political topics on this channel. I stick mainly with business, mostly because I'm not an expert in politics. So there's other places on YouTube you can go to find that content. But universal basic income is the one issue that I will take on because it deals with money. So a year ago, I posted this video on UBI, and it received so many negative comments that it made me think. And I'm a pretty open-minded person. So I went back and I thought about everything that I had said. I did some additional research, I went and listened to speakers, and after a year about thinking about this topic, I've come to the same conclusion. UBI is a bad idea. And I wanted to kind of talk through what are my reasons why. And so in this video, I'm going to present 4 big problems with UBI. The problems are practical, monetary, employment, and business. Please realize this is just my own opinion, and there's plenty of other people out there who disagree with me. In fact, I feel like I'm the only person out there speaking out against UBI. There's a lot of smart people, famous people who are supporters of this. So definitely don't take my word for it. Go out and do your own research and come to your own decisions. Let's start with the practical reason why UBI doesn't work. The practical reason against UBI is there's no money for this. So every year, the federal government of the United States releases a budget, and it's a really thick document. And if you go through this budget, you'll quickly realize that the federal government doesn't have excess money lying around. In fact, there's not enough money to fully fund the programs we have in place. Our schools are underfunded, Social Security is underfunded, healthcare is underfunded, NASA is underfunded. So with UBI, you're talking about building a brand new, massive government welfare program when we don't have enough money to fund the programs we already have in place. So there's a couple of things that have to happen before we start a program like UBI. First of all, we need to fully fund the programs we have in place. And once we fund those programs, there's still not enough money. So to get the extra money, we're going to have to raise taxes on the rich. So we're going to have to do those 2 things before we even start to consider starting a program like UBI. Now, those are big what ifs that I think are pretty unlikely to happen. So from a very practical standpoint, UBI faces a lot of problems. The next point is monetary. So if you were to put in a system in place like universal basic income, our monetary system would break down from massive inflation. UBI is based on the concept that everybody receives a check from the government to cover their basic living expenses. So imagine whatever town you live in, just imagine that everyone in your town received a check for $1,000. So everyone has this check in their hand. Well, the moment everybody has all of this extra money, the only thing that happens is that prices increase. The cost of living increases. Your cost of rent increases. The cost of food increases. That is how supply and demand works. That's how inflation works. And so everyone will have this check in their hand for money, that's true, but that check will be worthless. In this situation, the only person who benefits is rich people, because rich people can just raise the prices. The landowners can just raise rents. People who own stores can just raise prices. Poor people don't actually get anything out of it because they just have a worthless check in their hand. The people who really get hurt are elderly retired people on a fixed income because their retirement savings becomes worthless. All that money they spent their whole life working for, inflation destroys the value of that money. And so UBI creates many dangers for our monetary system. Next, I want to talk about unemployment because this is one of the most popular arguments in support of universal basic income. So the argument goes something like this. Computers are getting so smart that pretty soon there's not going to be any jobs out there that a computer couldn't do better than a human. So this is going to create massive unemployment, no one's going to have work, and the only way people will survive is by relying on a government check to cover their living expenses. The most current example of this is self-driving cars. So self-driving cars is something we know that's coming in the future, it's going to be coming soon, and it's going to put out of work all of those people who drive cars for a living. Taxi car drivers, delivery car drivers, all those people are going to be out of a job and they're going to need something like UBI to give them income. So there's a couple of problems with this unemployment argument. The first problem is that currently there's no unemployment problem. So we're talking about creating a massive government welfare program to tackle the problem of unemployment when there's currently no problem with unemployment. Unemployment in the United States right now is somewhere around 4%. And so it's a little bit silly to be talking about solving this problem when there is no problem. For the sake of argument, let's just assume in the future there's going to be an unemployment problem that we need to start thinking about today. Even in that situation, I think when you start pulling apart the argument, it doesn't really hold up. So let's think about who are these jobs that are going to go away. Let's take delivery truck driver, for example. So in a delivery truck driver, even if the truck drives itself, there's still a job there because somebody needs to unload the truck and someone needs to do the delivery paperwork. So let's say that the delivery truck company outsources all that effort to the business that's receiving the goods. So the delivery truck drives itself and the business has to unload the truck themselves and do their own paperwork. Well, even in that situation, the business is just going to have to hire another person to do that work. The work doesn't go away. Just like any piece of new technology, the self-driving truck is just a new technology to help us do our current jobs more productively. I don't think that we're actually going to lose that many jobs. Now, I don't want to overstate this argument because of course technology disrupts industry. Of course technology causes layoffs to happen. But this is just part of a cycle that we've experienced with new technology. New technology comes on the scene and it enables businesses to become more productive and create even more jobs. Just look at the personal computer. The personal computer came along and it didn't lay everybody off. It created more jobs. So this is a cycle we've seen before over the last 500 years. This brings me to my final point about business. This exact situation is why business people are here. Technological disruption creates uncertainty and chaos. Well, the best way to deal with that uncertainty is business, not UBI. Business takes resources that are no longer being effective and reallocates them where they are more valuable. So people who might lose their jobs, who's to say that they're not going to find bigger, better, more fulfilling jobs out there? The invisible hand of economics moves people to where they're most needed. I think what's happening here is people are scared. So people will hear stories about self-driving cars and they'll be gripped with fear and uncertainty about the future. But rather than succumb to fear, there's another option. What if this was an opportunity? What if we were to use this new technology to unlock a whole new level of productivity for humanity and create a whole new level of jobs? So when we talk about UBI, we're really talking about a choice. The choice is, are we going to forge ahead into the new adventure of humanity's future development? Or instead, are we going to sit back and accept our fate with UBI? So instead of being scared, have a little bit of faith in business. Have a little bit of faith that the forces of supply and demand are going to move people into bigger and better jobs. That's what business does. Business allows us to get over the hurdle of fear and unlock humanity's greatness. I know this to be true because it has worked for the last 500 years. Thank you all for watching. I know some of my ideas are controversial and I am ready to hear the negative comments, so go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I want to hear from you. And if you like this video, if you found it helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. The best way to supercharge a business is through accounting and corporate finance, and I release a new video every week, so definitely come back and check out next week's video.